What's up, everyone? This is Ask Val. One of my followers need advice and I need everyone to sign off in the comment section. Okay, so boom, I had a best friend that I met in 4th grade and we grew very close. Fast forward to 6th grade and my best friend told me that she gets beat and AR'd by her dad. Then it broke me to find out that she actually also had cancer. I felt so bad for her that I was her protector and I always made sure no one messed with her. Okay, so prepare yourselves for this. Fast forward, we're now in the 7th grade and she told me that it was all a lie. Her dad never AR'd her or beat her and she doesn't have cancer. She started laughing and I was just in shock. I didn't find it funny at all. I got so upset that I stopped talking to her and our friendship is now broken. Now I'm in the 9th grade and she's still trying to contact me to apologize to me. But honestly, guys, I don't want nothing to do with her. Am I wrong? Should I just talk to her? Please help. See y'all in the comment section. We're talking about how my boyfriend tried to do the nasty with my dog. Okay, so boom, we about to jump right in. So I had a really good boyfriend and every day after school, he came over to my place. Both my parents worked till late, so we had a lot of time to just have fun. So my dog was a big white Samoyed and he was obsessed with her. This was kind of a red flag, but I ignored it because, it's a dog. We dated for 2 months and things just kept getting weird. Second red flag, he paid less and less attention to me when he was over and more to my dog. So one day while he ignored me and played with my dog again, I got a phone call from my teacher. My teacher told me that I had to go to school right this second. I was really confused, but I obviously still went. Even though it was a Saturday, it ended up being a prank, but whatever, just push that to the side for now. I trusted my boyfriend with my dog and to stay home alone and I went to the school. And this was a big mistake because my boyfriend did the unthinkable. Like for part 2. Part 2 on how my boyfriend tried to do the nasty with my dog. Okay, so boom, like I said, I left my boyfriend home alone with my dog and I went to go to the school. The school was actually really close to me, so it really wasn't going to take me that long anyways. When I arrived to the school, there was no one there. All the teachers were gone and the school was locked. It ended up being a stupid prank by my friend getting me back for when I pranked her. But whatever, I went back home. And I'm sure my boyfriend didn't expect me to come back so quickly. So I went back and I didn't see my boyfriend or my dog in the garden. And the house was empty. At first I thought he kidnapped her, but then I started hearing noises coming from my dog from the basement. I opened the basement door and there it was. My boyfriend pants down trying to do with my dog. My dog ran to me and I locked my boyfriend in the basement. My parents immediately came home and my ex got grounded for life. I don't know what else happened to that weirdo, but now I'm dating his ex-best friend and we're happy and normal.
Hola. Okay, so in high school, I used to walk with my head down a lot because I was a daydreamer and also anxiety. Had a lot of that. I was doing that one of these times, head down, I'm like a GPS. And what happens to me? I get hit by a giant steel door. Just, everyone saw it. The person was apologizing and I just kept walking. Head down, just, just kept going. That's it.
Storytime about how my dad was on the news and now everybody knows my last name. So a little background information. This all happened whenever I was in 6th grade. This all happened on a Tuesday night. So I had school the next day. Well, my dad had went to work earlier in the day. Well, around 10 o'clock at night, we hadn't heard from my dad all day, which was super weird for him because he was always home around 10 o'clock. And even if he wasn't, he still would have kept in contact with us and let us know where he was at. So at this point, my family and I were really scared and we're thinking that something happened to him. I was calling and texting him. My mom was calling and texting him. My whole family was pretty much trying to get a hold of him. Like, we had called all the hospitals to see if he was there. We called police stations to see if he might have been in jail or if they had his last name in the system. So nobody had heard or seen from him. So we all went to sleep that night hoping that he would show up in the morning. So the next day after I got home from school, my mom came home from work and she had told me about this phone call that she got. Like for part 2. Part 2 of how my dad was on the news and now everybody knows my last name. So like I said, my mom had gotten home from work and she told me about this phone call that she got while she was at work. So apparently one of her coworkers called her and said, "Hey, I think I saw your husband on the news." So after that, she showed me the news article and I couldn't even believe what I was reading. So I guess my dad had been drinking and he went to an auto repair shop and stole a car because I guess the keys were left in the door of the car. And what makes this even worse, the car that he stole had 2 guns in the trunk. trunk. And they weren't 2 pistols, these were 2 big ass guns that were fucking loaded. Oh wait, I forgot something. So, before this, he had been at the strip club. And somehow he ended up in pink lingerie. Guys, I cannot make this shit up. So he was driving around and he decided to park right in the middle of an intersection. And it was literally causing a whole fucking scene. There were people with their kids worried as hell. So after that, a few people called the cops, like for part 3. Part 2 about how my dad was on the news and now everybody knows my last name. So like I said, my dad parked in the middle of an intersection and people were calling the cops. So when the police arrived, my dad was half passed out in the car. This happened in like the middle of broad day, like there's traffic everywhere. So when they finally get up to the car, my dad is literally slumped in the driver's seat. There was a bottle of whiskey in the door and it was completely empty. When they went to arrest him, he started resisting. He was screaming a bunch of profanities at them and started kicking them, threatening them with guns, which made the situation worse because my dad had no clue that there were any guns in the back of the car. So that just made the police think that they were his. So they take my dad to jail and he has like 7 charges against him. But we were happy because we knew where he was. Well, the worst part is, so the next day when I went to school, people were coming up to me asking if that was my dad on the news. Some people were even making fun of me because of what he did. And that's really fucking embarrassing for a 12-year-old. But it's okay, Dad, I still love you.
This is why you look both ways before crossing train tracks. So the other night I was driving home and it was around 11 o'clock at night. It was pretty late out. And to get to my house from where I was coming from, you have to cross train tracks. And I have never been scared to cross train tracks, especially these ones because they have like the sway bar that goes down and then the red flashing lights, so you know if a train's coming. So like I said, I'm never scared to cross those train tracks up until this. So I'm going across the train tracks. I'm going decently slow when I look out of my passenger window and I see a train about 20 feet from my car. I'm telling you, the lights were literally like in my car. I was being blinded by the train lights. It was that close. My heart was literally in my stomach. I have never drove my car so fast. And sure enough, as soon as I got right on the road, there goes the orange things going down and the red flashing lights, and then the train comes. I was literally this close to getting hit by a train. Look both ways before you drive across the train track.
Story time about how I caught my husband with his mistress. My husband and I, or should I say my has-been of a husband, have been married for 9 years. Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it was sent to me. My husband and I also have 2 kids. When we met, I was totally out of his league and he knew it. We met through friends and he made sure to tell all of my friends how much he wanted to be with me. At the time, I was modeling to pay my way through school, so I had no time for a boyfriend. But he got pretty insistent. We went out on a few dates and he treated me really well, better than all the guys I had met at that time. He was a gentleman, always picked up the tab and treated me with respect. So when he asked me to be his girlfriend, I said yes. 2 years later, he asked me to be his wife and I said yes. We were truly in love and best of all, we were best friends. I could talk to him about anything because he wasn't the jealous type. 4 months ago, he asked me for an open relationship. Of course I said no and this made him really angry. I got really suspicious and started checking his phone when he'd fall asleep. And that's when I found pictures of him with a girl at a hotel doing naughty things to each other. Part 2 is up. Once he fell asleep, I checked his phone and that's when I found pictures of him with another girl at a hotel doing naughty things to each other. Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it was sent to me on Instagram. I decided not to confront him. Instead, I started gathering evidence. I started following him around everywhere after I dropped the kids off at school. Mind you, I quit my job because he wanted me to stay at home with the kids. On the first day I started following him, he went to a hotel. Since I didn't want him to see me, I stayed in my car. 40 minutes he exits the hotel with a woman. By the way, these were not cheap hotels. A few days later, I followed him to a strip club. I checked his bank account and he had withdrawn $2,000 that same day. That's when I really got upset. A few days later, I followed him to an apartment complex. That's when I see a woman opening the door and it was the same woman from the hotel. My stomach dropped. After about a week, I mustered up the courage to go talk to her. When she opened the door, she recognized me instantly. She tried to close the door in my face, but I pushed my way in. Then the coward ran to her room and locked herself in there. Part 3, my husband's mistress runs to her room and locks the door when she sees me. What a coward. I ran right after her and I told her that I wasn't going to hurt her and that I just wanted to talk. Of course, she asked me to leave, but I told her I wasn't going to move an inch until we talked. She comes out and we proceed to talk for 3 hours. She explained to me that she's an escort and that my husband pays for her apartment. She also told me that she wasn't in love with him and that she really only needed the money. This made me very happy. She also told me that aside from paying for her apartment, he gave her an allowance of $3,000 a month. Oh yeah, and that she knew about me and the kids. That's when I lost it. I took my pepper spray out of my purse and sprayed her. Fortunately, it didn't directly hit her in the face, but it still got her. I went straight to a lawyer and presented all the evidence. When I got home, my husband asked me how I found out. I showed him all the evidence and he was stunned. He's begging me not to divorce divorce him because he knows it's gonna be really expensive. I kicked him out and he went to his mom's house. His mom was angry and she didn't let him stay there. How much should I ask for?